Blizzard's survey just spilled the beans. A huge new Midnight Fever, more new specs coming in. I should say feature. I said fever. More new specs, guys. What are we getting here? I mean, we talked Tinker. We talked all these different specs. We're getting Devour Demon Hunter. But is that what the people really wanted? Or do we want something more interesting? Maybe a Shaman tanking spec. Maybe, maybe some of the things that we've asked for, like a Caster Death Knight. Maybe Tinkers. Just give us a new class. I don't know. But yeah, definitely some specs there that people have been asking for a long time. It looks like Blizzard's hinting that we might be getting some. Let's see what this video has to say here from Bellular.
As I record this, it's the day before WoW is essentially going to change forever, and in many ways.
Tank
Add-ons are
Warlocks?
slightly dying, classes are being made a bit easier,
Necromancer,
and Eastern Kingdoms that we've known for 20 years is literally changing in its shape. And even now, Blizzard are pushing some unexpected updates to pre-patch and beta, so I've got a lot of actually pretty good news, some restrictions being eased up. But despite that, people are now once again looking further into the future, and it's Blizzard's fault. The reason why is they've kinda just told us what spec ideas they're working on next. Devourer Demon Hunter drops this week with pre-patch, and that means Blizzard are probably starting to work on whatever the hell the next spec is going to be. The obvious question is which one, and as helpful as ever, Blizzard have sent out a survey with a specific list of things to pick from. First up, we've the usual suspects that Blizzard actually play around.
Look, Tank Shaman, I can't believe is not a thing. Like, I've been saying for a while, like, we need a new tank spec, and I feel like Tank Shaman's such an obvious one. When I thought we were getting, oh, the Undermined patch, and I'm like, oh, Tinkers are going to happen, boys, and we're going to get some kind of Tinker mech suit spec. Didn't happen, but tanks in general, I do feel like it's been a while. We need a new tanker. We need another tank spec out there, maybe to get people interested in tanking again, because there's certainly a shortage. Now, I'm a blood DK. I'm a man's man. Of course I'm going to tank, but not everyone out there is willing to do it. Maybe putting a new spec out there will get more people interested in tanking. But yeah, Tank Shaman, Tank Rogue, Tank Warlock. Tank Warlock, really, the fantasy has gotten a new life since, was a Season of Discovery where you could be a Tank Warlock. We'll see if that one ever happens. But yeah, Shamans just make sense to me. They already use a shield and a hammer. They encrust themselves in rocks. Boom, tankers.
With during Season of Discovery. There's Tank Shaman, Tank Rogue, Tank Warlock, and even a time-based healing mage. All kinda crazy, but all ideas proven to work. But honestly, it's the other options that are way more out there, so get a load of these. The first on the list is particularly mad. It's a
healer
healing
hunter.
So imagine a hunter running around the place, healing their friends not by magic, but by
bandages,
giving them bandages, using their pet to deliver medicines like some sort of weird combat medic. It's kind of wild, but honestly,
interesting.
Yeah, there's something neat there in and around the survival hunter.
I don't know, man. Like an elf running around the forest healing people. I don't know about the fantasy of that. How many people would want to play that out? But yeah, basically, I mean, there was a time in classic WoW or in vanilla where using bandages was like super viable, and yes, you could heal people by using bandages in a dungeon and shit. But using it as an actual spec class combo, I don't know.
Cool. I mean, casting bandages in melee range is almost as if first aid was never removed from the game. You may not know, but that was a mechanic. There's other gameplay.
Healer DK, yeah, Healer Death Knight like a Necromancer Healer Death Knight makes more sense to me than a Healer Hunter.
Ideas like throwing healing potions the way that Survival throws their various Molotov cocktails. So it could work, but the real question is whether it would excite people, whether it would be hype, and something tells me that a bandage
like
hunter
Overwatch
may not be the biggest
basically.
draw. Now, the consensus, right, and this is relevant context, is that the augmentation evoker was a little bit of a failed experiment. Essentially, Blizzard tried to do support as a full spec, but it didn't really work out, and it really damaged the meta for a period of time.
It did, because there's not a lot of support specs. So, of course, if the one support spec, I mean, yes, there's Discipline Priests, but, they're like iffy. But if the one support spec is good, well, then it becomes that it has to be brought in as a meta class. And if it's not good, well, then it's not playable. So, like, it was such a weird choice for them. I really thought they should have brought a Black Dragonflight tanking spec, like a melee spec for the dragons, and then also give the customization option to make your Drakthir look more like a Draconid, a big buff boy. I think that would have been a way more popular choice than the fairy dusters that we have right now of these like buffing evoker guys.
But all the same,
But we didn't
it's
get it.
not stopped Blizzard from adding other support specs into the
Any
list.
idea
They've got a
is
support
bad.
priest, which is basically holy DPS that also buffs its allies, basically using the classic inner fire. There's also a support paladin, and that's
disciplined
kinda neat
priest.
because paladin used to be a buff bot. They had all their different blessings, and basically this is a spec that would be that, but, you know, with actual gameplay. Which is honestly kind of wild because the Lightsmith hero talent sort of does this stuff already, so I think making it a full spec could be a little tough. But the good news is that I think with Augmentation Evoker under their belt, Blizzard could probably do a new support spec in a way that isn't a total disaster. That said, those things are not particularly exciting. Now, there are 3 new ranged options. There's a Chi launching monk, a Holy Fire DPS priest, and a ranged DK that is full-on Lich. And of those,
Damn.
I think Lich Death Knight is probably the coolest. I mean,
Yeah, Lich Death Knight for sure. Range DPS Death Knight. So I guess using like necromancy spells or something like that. More. This one sounds the coolest. Range DPS priest, and then range DPS monk. I could imagine a range DPS monk. What are they going to throw? Kegs or something though? That'd be interesting. Yeah, a necromancer range DK. I could totally picture happening. Does anyone know if Valor Stones and crests are removed in pre-patch? Or can I still earn crests and upgrade Season 3 in the coming weeks? I think you could still earn crests. I think you just can't upgrade. You can't push your rankings and shit up anymore for achievement purposes. But I think you could still earn crests, right, guys? Am I wrong with that? I'm pretty sure you can. And Valor Stones. Valor Stones, I think, go away when the new season kicks off and all that shit with Midnight. But, Tavern Brawl, sometimes crests disappear. Not sure. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure, like, based on past shit, I'm not sure if they go away or not. I think you should still be able to earn them. Yeah, we'll see, I guess.
throwing out unholy and frost spells, summoning ghosts instead of ghouls, having your own personal phylactery. That stuff instantly passes the vibe check. It feels Death Knight, feels undead, feels necromantic, and that is all very much core Warcraft. If I had only one vote, I'd probably throw it onto the Lich Death Knight.
Yeah.
As amazing as it sounds, also, let's be real, Shamans have been denied a tank spec since the game first launched, so it probably is their turn, and I think the game does need more tanks anyway. Though it does beg a question. We can probably have more than one new spec in the game, right? But that also begs another question. I mean, the Last Titan is the thing that's coming up next. Often in a new expansion, we'll get a new class, but so far we've only talked about specs. And that's actually got me thinking. You see, Blizzard likes to introduce one thing at a time, mostly so the game doesn't, explode. And for the Last Titan, the new thing they should...
Yeah, the balancing of adding a new spec is certainly much more heavy than adding a new race. I think adding a new spec or class is a much bigger endeavor for the WoW team than, just adding like the Amani trolls, say, to the game. Right, playable Amani, that'd be easy. Click and go live and bam, you got playable Amanis. Adding a new class or spec to the game, now you got to balance all that shit. You got to understand how it's going to work with raiding and PvP and Mythic Plus, and there's so much more that goes into it. So it's definitely a big undertaking for the team. That's why I think they typically don't add 2 new specs or something at once.
Put in is probably a full new class. Now, back in the day, we used to get a new class every second expansion. We had DKs in Wrath, Monks in Mop, and
the hero classes.
Legion. Then we had a 3-expansion gap, BFA and Shadowlands, before Evoker finally landed with Dragonflight. The Last Titan would be 3 expansions after the Evoker, and I think doing a new class is just too good of a thing for a big hype expansion for Blizz to ignore. And because of this, I wouldn't blame you for thinking, wow, these specs wouldn't arrive until like 2030 or something like that? I would actually say no, not necessarily. I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard decides to sprinkle in the odd new spec during the patch cycle of expansions.
Yeah. I mean, they did it in Dragonflight. That whole precedent's been set. They've introduced new specs in the middle of an expansion before, so yeah, it could happen.
Maybe one in this and one in the Last Titan, with the Last Titan also having a new class. I know that does sound pretty aggressive, but WoW's team has been pretty substantially beefed up as time has went on, and I think they're realizing that as they do live service for this game, one of the things that is truly a new draw for people is new classes and new specs. But as fun as all that is to think about, there's a hell of a lot going on in the game right now and a lot coming, so let's talk about the pre-patch.
Yes.
Pre-patch
Blizzard
is right
working
on
on
top of
updating
us,
the
and
deadline.
midnight is not much further away. And as usual, Blizzard are shipping changes right up to the wire. It is so close. So here's what you need to know about what's changed. First off, we've got Mythic Plus changes. It's no secret that Blizzard have tried to get people into Mythic Plus. They've made it easier and more simple over the years, but one major problem does remain. And that is getting people to actually tank the damn things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you guys right now, as someone who has just played Blood DK now for like 3 expansions straight, it's a good time. It's a good time for a tank because you can literally queue for just about anything and get a group because there are so many poor groups out there desperate for a tank. And the truth is, because in Mythic Plus, tanking really it's a massive responsibility. And one of the biggest responsibilities besides surviving and holding aggro and doing all the shit right and the interrupts and everything else and knowing every mechanic of every pull and boss because you got to push his position shit properly, is knowing the routes. And this, I'm sure this is what he's about to say. This new route helper feature, the in-game version, I think is going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a fun way to kind of learn the Mythic Plus routes, learn the dungeons, and learn how to tank for those people who've never tanked before. I think it's a great add. I'm excited to see what it actually looks like when it's implemented, and I'm definitely going to try it. I think it's like for keys 2 to 5 or something like that, or 0 to 5, you'll be able to see the route and learn it. Whether or not it's optimal or not doesn't matter. You can always make adjustments, but just learning the basic route will be a nice one.
Everyone knows that
Pre-watched? No, I just know this shit.
Alive as a tank has never really been the hard part. The hard bit is leading the group and routing through the dungeon because you do end up.
Yeah. Now the pre-watch allegations will be good.
It's that classic problem. How do you know before you've done the thing, but you don't feel like you can do the thing because you don't know? And that's what Blizzard wants to solve with Lindormi's guidance. It's a new affix, but before you panic, don't worry, it's a positive one. It's active in +2s through to +5s.
2 to 5, okay.
And Lindormi will mark certain targets, highlighting them and debuffing them. And what this does is it paints a route through the dungeon, where if you kill all the debuffed enemies, you'll hit 100%, you'll save a bunch of time, and that'll basically be it. You'll be grand. Obviously, at the higher keys, it won't be there, but you'll still be able to just default to the practiced route from this affix, or go and try something a bit more optimal. I think the genius here is it means that beginner players are going to have the routing done for them. That means they can easily get used to the dungeon, and the debuff means that the route they're practicing will be the best one. But once that debuff is gone, well, you just get to play without the training wheels, and maybe if you have some special tactics, that's when you can deploy them. I think this is great, and just doing the Blizzard route is probably going to be fine for most groups. And now the tanks aren't thrown into the deep end.
I would say unless you're pushing like +18s or something, that route's probably going to work out pretty well all the way across the board. You just learn the route and you run that shit as quickly as possible. And it removes one of the barriers to entry for tanking because a lot of people won't tank because they don't know the routes. They're worried about, oh yeah, I'm not going to know which group to pull next and everything. This will be a nice little entry point for people to try tanking.
And, well, maybe we can expect there to be more tanks in Midnight. Now, on top of that, there's another new section of the Adventure Guide. This is a shocking thing, but it actually explains keystones and affixes.
Oh, no way.
Only took them 10 years to put something in the game that explains that, but hey, as they say, the second best time to plant a tree is now. And overall, I think I'm pretty impressed with Blizzard for finally solving this problem. It's one of those things where their solution is so elegant, I'm almost kicking myself for not thinking about it earlier. So GG. That being said, where I'm a bit less impressed is the bugs. Because right now, there are major fears that pre-patch will literally break Koresh. Just break the zone. And that's because in BTR, the Rishi wraps are just not working, like whatsoever. You can't do any Koresh content that needs them, and that even includes killing Demencius, because
this is what I'm worried about with this patch today and the 8-hour maintenance. This shit might go longer. Because, stuff like this, like, okay, you break an entire raid and zone. This stuff's supposed to still be playable. Yes, you can't get the achievements anymore, but doing the Mana Forged Omega raid and everything, like, you should still be able to do that, even though pre-patch is live. So if they break the Reshi wraps, that's going to break a lot of the content. Oh, man.
Without the cloak effect, Demencius just kills you.
We'll see.
Plus, on top of all that, we've got an incoming stat squish. Do you know exactly what that tends to mean? It will probably mean that for a while, old raids will be a nightmare, and early reports certainly do suggest that. Even geared level 80s are reporting that Shadowlands and Dragonflight raids now take ages to clear.
Oh,
like always, Blizzard will get around to fixing this, but pre-patch is likely going to be more than a little broken at launch. Thankfully though, the worst break comes with the expansion itself, and the thing that'll break is actually your brain. Specifically, the 20 years of shape recognition you have for the Eastern Kingdoms being destroyed. That's because we've got a new Eastern Kingdoms map, and it's getting an interesting reception online. Take a look at this. This is Zalaman. It's always been there, except that to our eyes, it obviously looks wrong. I mean, it is completely correct, it's just going to take a little bit of time to get used to.
Yeah, it's much bigger. I said this earlier in the video we were watching, that the remake of the Upper Eastern Kingdoms is not just like an up-resing. It's a complete rebuild from the bottom up. It's a bigger zone now. It's a bigger zone, so now this map is more accurate. Dead Scar is gone too. That's a big change. I can't wait to go and see this stuff. I really can't.
Get used to. And it's kind of interesting, through this and the next expansion, which will be doing a bunch of revamps to Northrend, well, we'll have to get used to
it's magnified with more detail, basically.
Slightly different shape in game. Okay.
It is bigger, too.
We got to move on to housing, where there is fantastic news. Blizzard have stacks of housing changes, and thanks to some rather pointed feedback, they've essentially gone through a huge list of decor, and they have drastically reduced the placement costs on beta. That means that once the expansion launches, you'll be able to throw down, as an example, 3 times as many rugs and platforms, and almost twice as many bookcases.
Nice.
And from everything I can see, that team are extremely active with feedback, so much so that Holly told PC Gamer that they're basically suffering from success. That housing is so well loved that they are utterly swamped with requests for minor improvements. Things like this feature, which will be absolutely screaming in the heads of anyone who has used 3D software, where we want to...
I saw a new ad for housing, by the way, on TV. Did you guys see it? It's the orc. He's chilling in his home. I don't know if you guys have seen the ad. I'll try to find it after this video. Pretty cool ad for housing. I'm not a housing Andy. I don't care for it. But I know there's a lot of people that are going to come to WoW for the first time or come back to WoW because of player housing. It's a big feature.
Little movement and rotation tools to, be appropriately colored so we can, pick the right direction at a glance. Hopefully that'll be in soon. Now, speaking of PC Gamer, they also quietly revealed housing's immediate future, and it's pretty exciting. It all happened in a series of interviews where they just got some juicy info. So here's what's coming. Soon after the expansion launches, we're going to get co-owning and decorating. We'll get
the whole co-owning thing, I just don't know about it, man. People are going to co-own with their spouses and shit, then a divorce happens, then you're going to be in divorce court, and they're going to be arguing over who gets the house in Azeroth. Oh, man, I can't wait for that article to come out. I really can't. It's just going to be proof of pure degeneracy in this world. We've achieved a new level of degeneracy where people are arguing over their homes in Azeroth. It's going to happen, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
With objects like glasses,
court-ordered Azeroth housing.
Bigger exteriors for our houses, elf exteriors, and skybox rooms.
We're going to get marriages in WoW too, yes.
House renown levels going up
full
as well,
RP.
And they'll continue to rise by 5 to 10 for every major patch. That's what's coming soon, but they did talk about other features as well. So here's what they are. Bigger exterior budgets, more exterior lighting, mounts and pets roaming around houses, and indoor snow items, plus Hearthstone-like interaction. Basically, what they mean by that is that, say, you could click a cauldron, and when you click the cauldron, basically it would bubble up. A little bit like how there is interactivity in the Hearthstone game boards. Now, these are not an exhaustive list, but...
Hearthstone needs to be added into WoW. I've said this before, it just does. Like, you need to be able to go into an inn or that new Arcantina, and there's a Hearthstone board opened up on the table. You should be able to click it and jump into a Hearthstone game. I don't know what Blizzard has to do to get that done, but I just think that'd be so cool, just to have it there in the game. So, like, you could just decide, like, I'm waiting for a PvP match, let me go through a quick Hearthstone game or something. I wish. I'm not a Hearthstone guy either, but I just think in terms of, I don't know, immersiveness, it'd be really cool to have it.
It is nice to get confirmation here.
Sure, I'm sure the programmers would love that.
Yeah, it's not an exhaustive list, and we actually know we're going to be getting a housing-specific roadmap very soon. But apparently until then, this is what we know, and at least I'll say it's all good stuff. But I can't leave you without a tease, because there are a few features that are basically on their list, but they're a little bit on the fence as to whether they'll show up, and it's often for technical reasons. Those are basements, which are sadly technically impossible for now, but come on, basements would be absolutely amazing.
Cool. I'm in one right now.
Also, communal spaces for events and more varied neighborhoods. Clearly, I think they're giving this feature everything that they've got.
The communal spaces for events, the rumor is it's going to be like a guild hall or something. I don't know for the guild neighborhoods, but I don't know what you do for the public ones. But yeah, I guess like a guild hall in the center of the neighborhood or something.
And I'm really excited to see their plans. They do have an entire team dedicated
Why
to
did I just
this,
say
and
StarCraft
they've
again?
always said it's not just a midnight feature, it's one that they'll be plowing forward with every expansion. So by the time Last Titan happens, I wouldn't be surprised if we'll be hanging out in our guild hall with some sort of communal event area where we can spawn objects and, I don't know, get up to all sorts of degeneracy. Anyway, that's it for this week's big news, at least for
Let's be honest, it's going to be used for orgies. I'm going to say it right now. You know, Moonguard exists. These things exist. I'm just saying.
today. A pre-patch will bring
Bunch of
plenty to talk
Volterra and
about.
Morgans.
And if you want to know what to expect when you log in tomorrow, check out our big breakdown video of all the changes right here next.
Eyes wide shut. That's right. What's up, Achilles? Yeah, nice video overall. Look, it's a lot of cool features are coming. The specs and stuff. I could imagine more specs coming into this game for sure. The ones I would like to see, I mentioned. I think Necromancer, DK. I definitely think tanking Shaman would be a nice add for sure to the game. Definitely ones out there that people have been wanting for a long time. And if they had another class, I guess the Tinker would be the one that I would think of. And then playable Monty Trolls, make it happen, Blizzard. Nice video overall from Bellular.